psychiatry blog. I mean, that's just...
Yeah. Or even reading your private blog, even if it wasn't about that.
Yeah.
Because he also talks about, like, sort of, whatever, societal issues.
Yeah.
The point is, that is now blending his personal life, his private life, and his work life in a way that you can't do if you're a psychiatrist.
Right.
A lot of patients, it blurs boundaries, and then also there's going to be people who don't want that. They're like, they're going to say, I don't want you to be my psychiatrist because I didn't like some opinion on your blog.
Mm-hmm.
Or I didn't like the idea that you're blogging and you know things about me.
Yeah.
He basically told them, if you put my name in the story, it will destroy my life.
Mm-hmm.
And they said, well,
it's our policy.
That's
all
our
right,
policy.
What's Banksy's name?
Well, to check it, I just looked up, Carpe Donktum?
Nope.
Oh, he's a Twitter guy that makes like pro-Trump memes. I just Googled it. New York Times did an opinion piece about him. They don't mention his name. They just refer to him as Carpe Donktum.
See?
And it's clear they talk to him because they say he's a middle-aged dad who lives in Kansas, but they never say his name.
Yeah.
So for whatever reason, in this instance, either it's a misunderstanding or something, or they're just decided they're going to destroy this guy.
Yeah.
And he took down his blog.
Yep.
All of it.
Yep.
A lot of good information on that. A lot of good stuff.
Yeah.
I think the way Scott Adams put it was like, this guy's like a huge contribution to, society, probably bigger than his practice. And now it's just gone because they just refuse to let him keep it.
Yeah.
But to what extent is that his own fault for talking to them?
Yeah. I mean, if you talk to the New York Times, you're already a fool. Clown World. Some guy, there's a Syrian soldier in the Syrian Arab Army who put out a bunch of videos saying that he was in love with Bashar al-Assad's daughter and that he wanted to marry her and that they were made for each other. Bashar al-Assad's daughter is 16, just turned 16 years old. That guy got arrested and he was rumored to have been beaten in prison. And there's nothing really to say about this. It's just a funny Clown World event. Imagine being Bashar al-Assad as like, you got a report about a soldier. It's like, oh, geez, did he leave and convert to ISIS? No, but he's been making like a lot of Facebook videos about how much he wants to fuck your daughter. Like, okay, was a soldier like 17 or something? No, he's like in his late 20s, early 30s. Yeah, I am Bashar al-Assad, so you know what to do.
Now that's real cancel culture.
Now that's cancel culture. Yeah. And now, Dan, you wanted to talk about fireworks.
There's something going on in this country with fireworks, and we're going to get to the bottom of it. So there's Firework Gate is trending on places where things trend. Apparently, in the month of June in New York City, and I'm using New York City as a stand-in because this is happening all over the country apparently, but New York City is like the only place where we have data. This month, there were just shy of 6,400 complaints about fireworks. Basically every day, every night, into the wee hours, hundreds of people are calling saying, hey, there's fireworks going off. There's like huge, elaborate fireworks displays like the kind that are usually reserved for like 4th of July events at stadiums or something. This is not just normal people's fireworks of like little bottle rockets and stuff. This is like the Disney fireworks going off all the time. Now, what does that mean? 6,400, is that a lot? So last year it was like 27. The year before that in June it was like 25. The year before that was like 14. If you add up the previous 5 years, it was less than 100 total for like 5 years. And then this year, in 1 month, it's 6,400. And nobody knows what's going on. So I've heard one theory is that this is people trying to piss off the cops by just making a ruckus, and then they have to come out. They get called out, and by the time they get there, the people who put off the fireworks are gone, and the cops wasted their time, and it's, a cat and mouse game or something. And then woke Twitter theory is that, you have to follow me on this. I love a good, it's the government's fault conspiracy as much as the next guy, but I can't quite follow the line of this one. So there's a bunch of fireworks companies that have all these extra fireworks that they can't sell because the lockdown shut down all the events that they would have used them at, pyrotechnic event things like concerts and whatever. So they have all this stuff and they can't get rid of it. What do they do with their inventory? Well, they teamed up with the NYPD in some dastardly plan to set off fireworks in the city to undermine BLM. Can you figure out how that works?
No. Yeah, I don't know anything about this. You know, Dan, you can't just talk about things that only you care about and just take the whole section and then to the end of it just ask me my view when you know full well that I don't know anything or that anything I do know you've already said. It's really inconsiderate.
Taste of your own medicine?
Mm.
Not so good, huh? A little bit
Not
bitter?
so good. Oh, breaking news as I record this. Just a quote from Barack Obama talking about George W. Bush. My predecessor, who I disagreed with on a whole host of issues, still had a basic regard for the rule of law.
Are we to be spared nothing?
Yeah, so I just want to again say Donald Trump is a hero. If you think that any living president, except maybe Jimmy Carter, was better than Donald Trump for any reason, you are a bad person. You are unworthy to look at Donald Trump. Donald Trump is more of a hero than you could ever hope to be. If you think that Barack Obama was a better person than Donald Trump, if you think that George Bush was better than Donald Trump, if you think that Bill Clinton was better than Donald Trump, if you think that George Bush Sr. was a better president than Donald Trump, for anything really at all, actually, unworthy to look at him. Jimmy Carter is fine. If you're one of those guys who's still like, I think Jimmy Carter is the best living president. You know, all 5 people who probably aren't even listening to this episode.
They're all dead.
They're all dead. But, right, okay, you know, if you're standing with Jimmy, then yes, okay, good. But
Is
I
Jimmy
really
Carter still alive?
Yeah, Carter's still alive. He does like humanitarian work and
95 years old.
Yeah, he does. I think he does like Habitat for Humanity type things. He's built homes for the homeless and he does that kind of thing. He also does diplomatic work.
Yep.
Like he'll go to conflict zones and he'll be like, "Hey guys, do you know who's going to be conducive to peace in your third world country? A former U.S. president."
Wow, he literally looks like Emperor Palpatine.
Oh, don't say that. Jimmy Carter didn't do anything particularly bad.
I'm just commenting on his looks, Marcel.
Listen, good people can't look bad. Haven't you read Twitches? Sorry, not Twitches. Haven't you read the Twits by Roald Dahl?
Who?
Roald Dahl wrote Charlie and the Chocolate Factory.
Oh, yeah.
So he had one book called The Twits, in which he said that good people can't actually look bad.
Yeah. So I'm taking he was a bad guy then, with maybe the stupidest name in British history.
Okay.
Except for Engelbert Humperdinck.
What?
You don't know who that is? That's a person. That's a singer.
Okay.
That's a British singer.
God, the British, are they human? So that's all I have to say about that. Do you have anything else you want to talk about, Dan? Oh, movie reviews, if you want to. Dan, would you like to review The Irishman for us?
Forthcoming.
Okay.
Not at the moment. Not this episode. Still watching it.
Let's see if I watched anything recently.
While you wait, I'm going to plug Do the Right Thing.
Oh, God. I saw Do the Right Thing. And
you didn't like it?
No, I can't say. I mean, it was the
What's so
messaging
about
was
it?
The ending.
Yeah. What's wrong with the ending?
Well, Do the Right Thing ended with them torching that pizza place, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. What lesson was Do the Right Thing meant to impart?
I think that's up to the viewer. From my perspective, Danny Aiello's character was the hero of Do the Right Thing, and it was about persevering in the face of crazy people in a society gone mad.
Yeah, okay.
See, I'm surprised you don't like Do the Right Thing.
Yeah, I know. I was not a fan of it.
It's like, technically, it's just a masterpiece of filmmaking, and then the only reason that people don't like it, usually, is because they think of it as like a pro-rioting movie where the message is like, racism be keeping us down, but if we burn down a pizza shop, that's how you stay down with the cause. But like, spoiler alerts, obviously, I didn't get that message at all. Like, I found it very interesting how realistic that movie is, to the point where I feel like anyone could watch that movie, I think anyway, and I could see people coming away. It was like these like things happen, these events happen where like a guy is killed by the cops or whatever under weird circumstances, and then we don't know the story, and the story comes out later or whatever, and we have to piece it together, and then the two sides, hands up, don't shoot, and all that stuff. I feel like that is a perfect example of how that happens.
Yeah, I mean,
like Radio Raheem goes into this pizza shop that he was kicked out of earlier for blaring his radio. Blares the radio, refuses to leave, berates the owner, and just keeps berating him, arguing with him. And the point of it was to get Danny Aiello's character to call him a certain word, which would give him carte blanche to go haywire. And that's what happened. Yeah. And then he goes haywire, starts to try to strangle him to death when the police show up, pull him off of him, and then they strangle him to death. And he resists their arrest up until the point where he dies. And then they're surrounded by a mob of people screaming.
Hold on. I just want to point out, Radio Raheem was not, when he died, his resisting arrest caused the police to apply the chokehold, but he was not resisting, as he was dying. I just want to point that out.
If my memory serves correctly, he was resisting up until the point where he passed out. And then they kept choking him until he died.
Yes, okay, they kept choking him until he died.
As cops do.
Mm-hmm.
But up until like 30 seconds before his feet stopped moving, he was kicking and fighting and doing all that. But and then the crowd surrounds them, and I forget the thing, but I know Martin Lawrence, I think it's Martin Lawrence's character, yells out, "He died because he had a radio." And it's like, that's exactly what would happen in that situation. He was strangling this guy to death. And then the cops intervene and they killed him. And then the narrative instantly is made that he died because he had a radio.
Yeah. And then at the end, the town starts to riot, and they burn down the pizza place, and then they're about to burn down the Korean store across the street. And then there's the scene where the Korean shop owner is like swinging a broom, and he's screaming frantically, "I know white! I know white!" And then they're like, "What?" He says, "I know white! I know white!" And it's like, "Yeah, we know. It's like, I black like you." And the crowd is like, "What?" And the guy's like, "I'm black like you." And the crowd, like, seemingly just, they laugh at him. They laugh at this man whose life, their whole and livelihood, they kind of have at their mercy, right? They're about to destroy his store, and he's begging with them, "I'm not white, I'm black like you." And the crowd, I guess, takes pity on this guy, or something solidarity, immigrants, non-whites or something. Like, Spike Lee is not foolish enough to believe that blacks feel racial solidarity with Korean shop owners, right? So it's really, we're going to call it pity. And then they let him be.
See, I think that's a great movie.
I found the movie deeply unpleasant on every level to watch.
Really?
Right.
I couldn't disagree
everything about it.
It's visually like a masterpiece. It's stunning. It's a great,
it was well made. I don't doubt it was well made.
Slice of life of here's this neighborhood going through one day, and then I think everything about the story, except for maybe that part, I found it very, in a sense, even-handed. I went into it thinking it was going to be a movie when I watched it years ago, like where it's basically like John Turturro is just racist and he just deserves what he gets or whatever. And then I watched it. I was like, oh, that's not the case at all. Like, you watch that movie and there's a lot more going on than that.
Yes. In fact, I'd say what I didn't like about it was the idea that somebody would look at that movie and think that Radio Raheem did nothing wrong. Right.
Oh yeah, the fans, I would say, except for like me, most of the fans of that movie are fucking idiots.
The idea that there's someone out there who looks to do the right thing.
That includes the director who gets his own movie.
I actually did read an article. I read an article years ago on The Root, which actually said that if you thought that it was wrong for them to burn that store, do the right thing, this proves that you are a racist. And I really, again, if you don't want your pizza place burned down because you didn't want some guy blasting the radio and you weren't willing to let him choke you to death for calling him a word that he was, again, doing his ever best to make you call him, well, then that makes you a white nationalist.
Well, the reason I think the movie is
and again, I say to the left on bended knee, shut the fuck up.
Is it deals with every single one of those things that's coming up last week, 2 weeks ago, that always comes up over and over again. So, like, at the end of the movie,